Hello, this is Maria from visasinportugal.com. Today with another video. Because it's Monday, we are going to discuss questions of the videos I've done last week. Last week we've discussed property acquisition in Portugal. So today I'm going to read the questions you've sent me via email, on the comments, WhatsApp, on visasinportugal.com forums, and I'm going to answer all your questions. So if this is information you like, hit subscribe, say you love it, and we go from there. Because you've sent me all these questions, I've got your back. Let's do it. Can foreigners buy property in Portugal? Yes, there are no restriction for foreigners to buy property in Portugal, regardless if they are from a European country or outside of Europe, okay? What is a NIF and how do I get one? Well, this is quite important question. In order for you to buy property in Portugal, you need to obtain a NIF, which is a Portuguese tax number. You can go to the Portuguese tax authorities. You can go to what we call Loja do Cidadão, citizen store. You can ask an attorney to provide you one. Unfortunately, you cannot ask for one online. So lojas do cidadão, municipalities sometimes they provide as well, depending on the municipality, but the tax authorities office is always the best option. Sometimes you cannot find availability appointment for you to get one, so always hire an attorney and they can get that done for you. Of course, visasinportugal.com, you can submit your request and we will issue one for you, okay? Do I need to open a Portuguese bank account? Well, it's not legal mandatory, but they are going to ask a lot of questions where the money came from, and some of the sellers sometimes demand that the money comes from a Portuguese bank account just because of money laundering purposes, okay? Are mortgages available for non-residents? Yes, but you can only get a 75%, maximum 80, but I believe 75% is the norm of loan that you can get on a mortgage as a non-resident, non-citizen and non-resident of Portugal. What additional costs should I expect? Well, like I said in the previous video, IMT, which is transmission tax, stamp tax, notary and registration fees, and legal fees, because I always advise that you hire an attorney that helps you through the process, okay? Here at visasinportugal.com, we are big on property acquisition. Do I need a lawyer? Again, although hiring a lawyer is not mandatory, I always advise because there's a lot of little things that you need to be aware of. That's why at visasinportugal.com, we take care of all the process for you, okay? Can I get a residency visa through property investment? You cannot. Now in 2026, you cannot. Before, Golden Visa had one application where you could buy property in Portugal, but nowadays, no, you cannot, okay? What is property registration after acquisition? Well, this is the legal procedure throughout. When you do the deed, you register the property in your name. The tax office has 90 days to do so. And that's when the property gets on your name and the previous owner is deleted from the system, okay? Is registration required even after signing the deed? Yes, of course. The deed is a document between you and the seller at the notary. Then the notary gets. Sometimes you do the deed, but you don't hire the registration. And this is quite important. You always need to hire the registration, okay? And again, the governmental offices have 90 days to register the property, okay? Where can the registration be carried out? Again, when you do the deed at the notary, always ask them to do the registration. It will be easier for you, okay? What documents are required? Well, the signed deed, the identification, the proof that you paid taxes, stamp tax, transmission tax, and sometimes if there's a mortgage, you always have to provide the mortgage agreement, okay? How much does registration cost? It really depends on the value of the property and the notary that you hire, okay? But sometimes 395 euros, more or less, I'm sorry. What happens if the registration is not completed on time? Well, some say that the owner can lose rights on the property. That's not true because you always have the deed. The only thing that you can do is be on top of it and ask for the governmental offices to expedite your request, okay? Does a mortgage affect the registration? Well, in most cases, it affects in a way that even the bank will ask for that registration, because it's super important for the bank that the property is in your name and that the mortgage is processed in that registration, okay? So if these were questions that you were interested in hearing, I guess this video was for you. If you have more questions, put them in the comments, send us emails, go to visasinportugal.com. But never, never, never forget, hire an attorney to help you through the process. Check us at visasinportugal.com. If you're buying a property for investment, don't forget the AEL license for short-term rentals. If the property has that, when you do the deed, ask them to register that so it goes to your name, because nowadays municipalities are not issuing new permits for AEL. So this is really important information, and not everybody knows about this, okay? So this is really important. AEL licenses, if the property already has it, it needs to be registered at the deed so it can pass on to you, okay? If you want more questions to be answered in this subject, send us that information. Send us in the comments, send us emails, forms, go to visasinportugal.com, and I'll help you and answer all those questions, okay? See you soon.